This thing is just so hard. One of the most difficult parts of it is getting down to a rhythm, and the closing the chapter of the never ending PMP exam is a pain. It's just a pain in the brain. And one of the ways I typically advise people to get around this is to get help, to get a support system. Because when you look at the enormity of what you have to do, it is so much stuff you have to get done. You got to get everything on track. You have to get motivated. You have to keep on at it. And let's not forget the plethora of questions the average student has when trying to get ready for the exam. Lots of stuff, so much stuff. So I often advise students, hey, if your company really means business with you getting certified, you got to step up to the plate and tell them, hey, I need help to get this thing done. I need some sort of academic support by way of financing. And that's for people who may be finding it really hard. Because if you look at the course that I'm talking about tonight, it's a pretty straightforward, cost-effective way of you putting some commitment to this venture. I know of people who have been trying to get certified for like forever. There's a particular student of ours out of Virginia, and he had tried a decade before I met him to get certified. A whole decade. He just couldn't pull it off. He went to a wrong boot camp to start with, and I'll never forget what he told me about the instructor. The instructor pretty much at the wave of a hand said, no, it's going to be all right. It's not as difficult. You've got experience. You'll be fine. And, poor guy went in and wasn't able to kill it. So he ended up in this boot camp of ours. And the good news about it is he's today a PMP. He's one of my bosses, one of my dons out of Tyson's Corner, and he's actually given me some pretty good lessons learned to help other people who are getting ready for the exam. But anyway, this boot camp is one you don't want to miss. If you are a PMP exam student, you're trying to get certified, you don't know how to pull it off, you're having trouble getting through the syllabus, you're finding it hard, I want to invite you to sign up for this boot camp. It's called PMP Exam Prep Camp. And this is a registered course with the PMI. Praizion, the company behind the training, is a registered education provider of the PMI. It's not something we mention that much, but you'll see it there on our website. We've been an RAP for going on 9 years now. So this course is not one of those hurriedly put together courses. This course has been around for a while, and it has booted people into ship shape for the exam. In fact, we're going to have people from various organizations and government in this class who have already signed up. We've got a very special pricing offer for $750 to sign up for this 35-hour course. It's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. We're going to get you down to a rhythm, down to a routine, down to studying the guide the right way, down to taking quizzes and mock exams, and talking about real-world project management. Too many of these courses out there, you know how they roll. It's like tuna. They just cram you into the class, and basically no quality. It's just quantity. There's no one-on-one engagement. There's no personalization. But that's not what this course is about. This course is to put you in the lane for success, not just on the PMP exam, but even beyond that as a PMP. And I see that we got a chat in from one of our friends on the channel. So let's take a look at this chat from our friend here. And Sachi Guns, oh yes indeed, our good friend from Sri Lanka. Great to see you, Sachi Guns. It's almost going on, is it up to 10 months now since you got certified? Or is it going to be about a year? Remind me, I think, do you get certified in December or was it January, Sachi Guns? Sachi Guns is one of our bosses, and it's been a while, and Sachi Guns works in military. So good to see you here, and tell me, how is your life as a PMP coming along? And thank you for the shout outs for the mock exams and the study aids that you used. But tell me, how's life as a PMP? Are you mentoring people? Are you coaching people? Are you helping people? Oh, February, yes. Awesome, awesome. It is always so good to see our friends who have killed the exam coming back. You see, from what Sachi Guns is telling you, these things will help you, okay? And we've got 3 very brutal mock exams in this course. These are not your typical mock exams. These are vicious, and these will help you. They'll help you get to excellence. So Sachi Guns, congrats to you once again. And it's always good to see you here. And I know that you're in the thick of project management. So are you mentoring and training other people? Ah, you got a job at a multinational organization. Awesome. I hope this inspires people to see that being a PMP is a great way of you scaling up your project management focus and terrain. Because a lot of people think that being a PMP is just having a certificate. No, it's not. It's really about understanding how to make change in an organization, how to make that shift, how to go from state A to state B. And all of these tools and techniques and the methods that you learn about as a PMP, they are totally usable. So I want to encourage you. Like Sachi Guns is a PMP, you too can be a PMP. Someone says, but Phil, I don't know what it takes to be a PMP. So let me just show you right off the bat. We have 2 categories. We have category A and category B. Category A, they have a high school diploma. They don't have degrees. And in order for them to be eligible to take the PMP exam, they need to have 5 years of project management experience. And that's not so tall an order for many people. Many project managers I know have upwards of 10, even 15 years, even though they don't have a degree. So that's not a showstopper. Now, within those 5 years, the PMI will be looking for 7,500 hours leading and directing projects. In addition to that, the PMI will also be looking for 35 hours of project management education from a company such as Praizion. And that's why the course that I'm talking about right now is so important. It will give you that 35 hours of project management education. So if you've only got a high school diploma, don't worry, it's not a big deal. You can still be eligible for the PMP exam if you've got the 5 years of experience within which 7,500 hours was spent managing projects. Now, one more thing, all of this experience must have been within the past 8 years. So this is 2018. Your experience in project management cannot go back beyond 2010 at the time you're applying. Let's say you're applying right now. Well, we're in October. So October 10, 2010, you cannot go back beyond that. So within the past 8 years, if you have 5 years of project management experience and you can get the 7,500 hours, roughly 1,500 hours a year, it roughly comes to that, 1,500 per year. And I've had students say, Phil, You know what? In one of my jobs, I worked crazy hours, like 80 hours a week. So I actually have 3,000 or 4,000 hours within a year in one of my jobs. That's totally workable. Okay? So if you have any questions about this aspect, it won't be a bad idea to chat them in. And I will answer your questions about the eligibility if that is your question. Okay. So someone says, but Phil, I've got a degree. Is it any different for me? Yes, if you do have a degree, if you've got a bachelor's degree or its equivalent, the PMI will be looking for 3 years of project management experience versus the 5 years if you had a high school diploma. Someone says, but Phil, I don't have a bachelor's degree, but I've got an associate's degree. The associate's degree falls into this bucket on the left-hand side. So whether you've got an associate's or a high school diploma, that would be category A. Category B, in this image here, would be those that have a bachelor's. So whether it's a 3 years bachelor's, 4 years bachelor's, all the same. Okay, whether you've got a master's degree, you would still fall into B. Doctorate degree still fall into category B on this screen here. All right, so in addition to the 3 years, the PMI is looking for 4,500 hours of experience. Okay? 4,500 hours of experience leading and directing projects. In addition to that, you should also have the 35 hours of project management education. And that is what this course will afford you, that 35 hours of education. So if you've been a project manager for a while, you might as well just make it official, get PMP certified. It's a global reaching certification. This certification, called the PMP exam, it absolutely changed my professional life. It really did. Because before I got certified, I was going to interviews again and again and again. I was making the same mistakes, thinking that IT and software understanding equated to project management. Even though I had practiced project management, I really didn't know what made up project management. And I was doing it in a more robotic fashion and academic fashion, as opposed to a pragmatic, hands-on, professional approach. So I remember going for an interview, and I must have looked so daft, answering questions in such a ridiculous way about project management. Can you imagine trying to answer project management questions using something that had nothing to do with managing a project? So that's what happened to me when I went to a company out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Sat down in front of the people interviewing me, and the poor guys, they were shocked out of their wits and totally disgusted at my performance. It was really horrible. I was trying to answer questions about project management from the syllabus of the likes of the PMBOK Guide and Prince 2. I remember there was a particular guy on the panel who was a Prince 2 expert, Prince 2 practitioner, and he was asking me all these questions, and I was giving him total rubbish, nonsense. Fast forward to after I took the PMP exam, companies that I could only dream of, companies that I had seen on the boards and the forums, they started coming out of the woodworks. I started getting offers. I started getting the perspective together. I'm talking about companies that you would know about. Companies that I had always wanted to get into the moment I got PMP certified. Those doors started opening. It wasn't because of my master's degree in construction IT from University of Greenwich. It wasn't because of my engineering degree or anything else. But it was this thing that started opening doors to companies like Honeywell, like General Dynamics, like US Airways, like Motorola, companies that I knew about and wanted to work at. But I just couldn't, because my project management growth and deliberateness was stunted. I didn't have that growth in project management. I didn't have that understanding. So late 2005, when Honeywell came calling saying, "We've got a job, can you do it?" I remember going for that interview with my renewed understanding of project management, understanding things like earned value management and the critical path and all that stuff. And this stuff, honestly, is what my job was made of. When I got to Honeywell, my job was an earned value management expert. And if not for the PMP exam, there is no way I would have done well on that interview. I would have flunked the interview, like I flunked the other one at DHL. So I say all of that to encourage you to look into getting PMP certified. You can see up here, I've got the PMP Exam Handbook. A lot of people don't read this handbook, but I want to encourage you to go to PMI's site, download the handbook, read it. See? I can see a chat from one of our friends here. Herzin, thank you for asking the question, Herzin. The cost of this course is $750 for 5 weeks of no-nonsense, hard-hitting project management professional guidance and training. It goes beyond just training a bunch of PowerPoint slides, but it goes into actually training the very essence of the PMI's dogma, such that when you're done, all of this stuff will be fully etched in your mind as far as what it is. Someone says, "Phil, how do I sign up?" Go to pmsucceed.com, click on the sign up link right there, and just sign up. It's now $750, and this price is a steal because the real price is $999, and it will change. So my advice is to sign up now. There's the schedule. You can see it's a very intentional schedule, and it's broken into bite-sized chunks. So someone says, what is the advantage of breaking it up like this? I just want to go for a straight-ahead 5-day boot camp. 5-day boot camps are not bad if you have done the homework to go for those boot camps. But in many instances, we find students coming to class with a less than full understanding of the various chapters in the PMP guide. In this particular schedule, we have made it foolproof, such that even if students had not done what they were meant to have done, we've got so much buffer time built into it that it's almost impossible for the student to get lost. So we've got Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And we're going to be using every opportunity, every buffer, just like in the critical chain method. That buffer isn't going to go to waste. We ain't returning that buffer. We're going to be using that buffer to fully explain and expand upon the PMP guide. So we've got Monday and Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., and this is all EST. Now, the good thing about this is you still have your Saturday on the East Coast. So 9 to 2, and we don't take you to 6 and drain you out. Monday and Wednesday, 3 hours, and typically around 2.5 hours, we are rounding up and giving you 30 minutes to practice hands-on quizzes and workshops within the course, revolving around the dreaded ITTOs and processes. So anyone who is really looking to tackle this stuff in a digestible manner and not be under the fire of the schedule of those 5-day boot camps, I would advise such folks to sign up for this. Tell your company, bring a buddy along, because the folks coming for this training, the folks who have already signed up, they're not coming to play games, they mean business. This course will really encourage you and motivate you to keep up with the class velocity. Even though we're not going to be going at breakneck speed, it is still going to be moving you along pretty swiftly. You take a look at week 1. By the end of week 1, we're going to be at scope, the end of scope. So we're going to be talking in full about the WBS, the work breakdown structure, talking about how to start from the root node and how to go down into the work packages, things that people typically fly over. We're going to be talking about this in a pragmatic fashion. I'm going to be sharing with you how I've done this in the past on projects, how I've done this as a consultant for various companies. Then we get into chapter 6, the schedule, which is just going to be a blast, talking about how to schedule in a pragmatic fashion. All of those relationships, all those dependency types, the rules of scheduling, the details, we're going to cover all that stuff. And don't even let me get started on cost, because earned value is going to be broken apart like you've never seen it before. So for those folks who are struggling to make sense out of what seems like nonsense, I encourage you, sign up for this thing. All right. So, Praizion, I hope that answers your question to some degree. So it's starting on the 15th of October. It's online. And if you go to that site, you can see all the information up there. We typically recommend that people read the PMP guide, but we are going to be providing you with a study guide. We will provide you with our Project Management Essentials 500 plus page book. Very thorough, well illustrated. It has examples of majority of those outputs talked about in the PMP guide, the project documents, the project management plan components, and visualizations of lots of the troublesome grouped tools and techniques. So you're going to have a study guide that people swear by. In fact, some of our students say, Phil, I would rather read that study guide than anything else. But if you came to class, Praizion, with your knowledge of the PMP guide, having read all 13 chapters, you would definitely find that beneficial. So when you sign up, we give you access to a learning management system that has over 50 hours of work to be done after the course or before the course or during the course. It makes no difference, but you will have access to that system to study it as you will. A lot of people come into the class not having done as much work as others, but what we have found, Praizion, is that those folks can catch up, because if they watch the videos before coming into class, even if they hadn't read the PMP guide, they still have a very rich understanding of the content. But like I said, it's a foolproof system. So coming in with or without the awareness of the PMP guide, you will still get a huge bang for your buck in terms of time and effort and energy. So, like I said, it's on Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Monday and Wednesday are shorter. Saturday we go a bit longer, but it's extremely thorough, very, very detailed and deep. So for people like me, I remember the first time I opened up the PMP guide, I asked myself, what on earth are they trying to say here? What's this? And I remember spending about 3 to 4 hours in vain just trying to crack chapter 1. It was a nightmare for me. I remember that first Saturday in the library. Terrible. Here in the Mesa Library in Arizona. So I had to go away and come back another day. I couldn't fight the PMP guide the first day because it wasn't making sense. But for people that come to this class, they won't go through the pain I did. They won't need to run away because everything is going to be explained live. See, live online. It also will afford students the opportunity to ask questions right then and there about every single aspect that they are unclear about. You see. So for anyone who wants to come in to the course, don't let the fact that you have not read the PMP guide cover to cover deter you. Okay? It would be nice if you read it, but it would be even better if you understood it and you came with that A game ready to discuss further. Okay? So thank you very much, Harrison. Great question. Let's take a look at what our friends at headquarters have put up there for people getting ready for the exam from PMI HQ. I'm talking about PMI Handbook. A lot of people don't read the handbook, and unfortunately they miss out on understanding a lot of the intricacies of the exam. So if you take a look at this is really a breakdown of the life cycle for anyone who's trying to get started on this exam process. So you submit your application, and the PMI spend 5 days, sometimes even less, reviewing your application. In fact, one of our students sent his application in on a Friday, and by a Tuesday, I believe, he had already gotten a response. But sometimes it could be pretty quick. After your application is done, you could get audited. If you're not audited, you move to pay the PMI for the exam, and then your 1 year starts, your 1 year window within which you can take the exam. And within that 1 year, you've got 3 opportunities, 3 strikes, and you're out. Hopefully you'd only need 1 of them, like I did. But some folks end up using all 3 strikes and they are out. And if you're out, you need to stay out for a year. And I've mentored people who have had to cross this hurdle of not being eligible anymore because they blew their 3 strikes. And at the end, they wait for a full year, they get back on the horse, and they start again. Some people are about taking their 3rd try. Those folks, I'll say, why don't you come aboard the course so that you can solidify your 3rd try. Just tell your organization, hey, I need this funding to be able to cross this path in my career, to overcome this hurdle in my career. So you can take the exam up to 3 times within a year. If you don't pass it in that 1 year, you got to wait a year before you take it again. That's not fun. And trust me, I know about it because I've mentored people who have passed through that. After you get certified, your certification cycle begins, and every 3 years you need to get 60 professional development units. There are many ways of getting PDUs, and I've created videos on that. You can get PDUs either by going for a course to learn or by giving back to project management community by holding courses, as in training the course as an instructor, writing books, writing articles, white papers, hosting webinars as a speaker and stuff like that. Then you get into Credential Renewal, and if you do not fulfill the 1 year period, let me make this big for the sake of those watching. Sachi guns, I know this is not going to happen to you because you're smart and you're taking a look at how many years you have been a PMP for. You said it was February of this year, so February of 2020, for example, your 1 year period, well, your cycle will end. You won't get into the 1 year period. Well, I've had the good fortune of experiencing being a PMP in suspended animation, and it's not a good feeling. I did not pay close attention to my PDUs, and I was not a PMP for a while. You do not want that to happen to you. And certainly not credential expiration, because PMI give you a year to put it right if you don't get your PDUs. within the 3 years. They give you a year to put it right. And if you don't put it right, then you lose your credential altogether, which is not a good feeling, because I've actually mentored people who have lost their PMP application. There's no crying over spilt milk. The PMI will not listen to any sub stories. So one of my stakeholders, who are referred to as D, had to come back to PMP school with me. He got certified around the same time I did in 2005, but he let his application lapse. So he let his PMP PDUs lapse, and it wasn't good, but he ended up passing it the second time. So he's a PMP today. So that's an overview of what it looks like in the world of the PMI. Okay. And I'll just say, take a step. Okay, take a step, read this thing. Let me just type this in for anyone who is watching and wonders how they can get the handbook link. That's the handbook link right there. All right, so go to that link and read the PMP handbook. It'll do you some good to know what's in here. Here are the 2 categories I talked about: high school diploma or associate's degree, the 4-year degree or bachelor's degree. And going through this will just help you see, hey, wait a minute, I can do this. I've got the experience, and so on. Okay. So all this detail regarding the application is covered in a course within our course. So we spend 1 full hour going through what it means to apply for the exam, how to apply. And the cool thing about this course is we also take a look at your application. So if you need application advice, you need someone to take a look at your application and help you through the treacherous terrain, guess what? We're going to be helping you do that. Okay? So there's something I should address here, and let me just go back to the board so that I can address this sufficiently well. People say, okay, Phil, how much does it cost to take this exam? To take the PMP exam, if you are not a member of the PMI, costs $555. So this is for non-members. It's a chunk of change, isn't it? It is. It sure is. And that's why I tell people, look at this course as a type of insurance. You know, because spending $555 on an exam, you want to get it right. You want to get it right the first time. You don't want to mess it up, right? You want to get it right the first time. So if you're not a member, it's $555. If you are a member of the PMI, it costs $405 for members. And someone says, but how much is it to be a member? So this is your exam fee. Now, the membership, there's a $10 fee, $10 application fee. I believe that's what they call it the first time you're applying to become a member. So it's really $129 for 1-year membership plus the initial $10 fee, which makes a total of $139. They won't charge you the $10 fee every year, okay? You don't have to be a member every year, by the way. It does help for reasons I've covered in other videos, but you don't have to be. So if you take a look at what I've got here, you got $405 and $139. Add those together, what do you get? $544. What is the difference between $544 and $555? You save yourself $11. That's cool. $11 in saving. But not just that. What people fail to realize is that there are massive perks by being a member of the PMI. Now, the first perk is you get a free PDF copy of the PMBOK guide, the Project Management Body of Knowledge Guide. You get a free copy of that. That's pretty cool, because as you're studying, you come across words and you're looking to find those words in the entire book. You can just type those words in and hit go, and it comes up. But if you only had a manual copy of the book, that wouldn't be possible. In fact, to find all the mentions of that word would take you hours, if not days. So having a PDF copy is definitely a plus for anyone studying for the exam or any practitioner, because training this stuff, you also want to be able to access where those key things are. In addition to this, you're also going to get access to projectmanagement.com, where you can get a ton of webinars on various project management topics: agile, plan-driven, business strategy, so on. In addition to that, you can also get tools, templates. So being a member of the PMI for the 1-year period will give you some really awesome perks. And these are things that are going to help your studying for the exam, or if you're already certified, they'll help your project management, especially the tools and templates. They help you see what exactly PMI is referring to, what they're talking about. So I encourage you, sign up to be a member, and when you take a look at the grand scheme of things, it's cheaper, and you get all these perks. All right? So being a member of the PMI, now we can take a look at this table that you see here. This table will now make more sense. It's quite a convoluted table. So paper-based exams or taking the exam at the Prometric Test Center, $405, or in euros. If you're not a member, it costs $555. If you are a member, it costs $405. If you're taking the exam for the second time, God forbid, for members it's $275. For non-members it's $375. So, you see, I know some people who have taken the exam almost like 5 or 6 times within a space of 5 years. You don't want to be paying the $375. I'm not saying this will happen, but to be on the safe side, just be a member, so that no matter what, you're always paying the lowest dollar. For me, who has taken so many PMI exams, I find it very helpful to pay the member fee for all my exams: the CAPM, the RMP, the SP, the PMP, the ACP, OPM3. I found it better to be a member of the PMI when pursuing all of these certifications. Also, a lot of people don't realize, penny wise, pound foolish, you definitely want to be a member when you're renewing your PMP, because if you're not a member, it's costing you $150, which is $90 more. Why not just be a member and pay $60 and get the perks of membership and watch a ton of great webinars, join other colleagues online? See, I'm not getting anything from the PMI to tell you this. I'm just sharing some basic secrets of membership that a lot of people don't think about. So the handbook, it talks about the audit process. It also gives you a better idea of the PMP exam and what it's all about. So if you take a look at the screen, you can see it's 175 questions that you're really being scored on, even though the total exam questions are 200. And that's because you got 25 pretest questions that don't count. They're like future questions, possibly future exam questions. The PMI says pre-test questions don't affect the score and are used in examinations as an effective and legitimate way to test the validity of future examination questions. So, I mean, if people don't do very well on a particular question they've introduced, you probably won't be seeing that in the future. But there's no telling which questions those are, and they're changed all the time, of course. So someone says, how do I take this, and how often is the PMI or the PMP exam available to the public or people who want to take it? Well, first of all, you go through the application process, you're found eligible, you pay, and then you register to take the exam via the Prometric website. You go to prometric.com, you look for the Project Management Institute, and you look for a center near you. And you go to a center near you and take the exam on a day that it's available. You will see when the centers are available, because in these Prometric test centers, there's a ton of exams going on. You've got the typing exam, you've got other computer-based exams for software and hardware. So it's all about availability. But when it's available, you go in there and you got 4 hours. As you can see on the screen, the allotted time is 4 hours. Of course, it takes some candidates, some people are speed demons. It takes them like 2 hours, 1 hour. One of my students took 1.5 hours. Can you beat that? 1.5 hours. Anyway, this was a student who was noted to have a photographic memory out of Canada. So no wonder he spent 1.5 hours on a 4-hour exam. He actually did something similar on our mock exam. I remember going out for a little break and coming back, and boom, he'd finished the mock exam, a 4-hour exam. He finished it in less than 2 hours. So that was the beginnings of his killing the exam in less than 2 hours. But for you, I just say take all the 4 hours. Don't rush. You're not going to get brownie points for finishing 3 hours earlier. Besides, it would be hopeless to come out so early and not to pass the exam. So take your time. You can take breaks. It's just that you're not allowed to, stop the clock. The clock continues. So all of this stuff is talked about here. And someone says, how is the exam broken out? Well, it's here on this page, just to give you some further clarity on how the exam is broken out. You can see it's broken out into the 5 domains, also known as process groups, of initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling, and closing. And initiating is 2 processes and takes 13% of the exam. Planning, 24, takes 24% of the exam. Executing is 10 processes, takes 31% of the exam. Monitoring and controlling, 12 processes, takes 25% of the exam. And closing is just 1 process, and a whooping 7% for just that 1 process. So that's how the exam is broken out, and that's pretty much what we're going to be covering. See? So if you have any questions about either the course or the exam, now would be an excellent time to chat them in. I would love to answer any questions you have. I also want to encourage you, go back to your firms, tell your PMO about this course. You want to send your people for this training. You don't want to send them anywhere else. This is as good and as detailed and as diligent as it gets. So any questions about this course? Any questions about the PMP exam in general? If you do have questions, now would be an awesome time to ask them. Now, beyond this document that I'm showing you, the handbook, there's another document that I think you should be aware of. I think I should share that document with you just to give you some context of this entire thing. And that document is called the PMP Exam Content Outline. It's a document that a lot of students unfortunately forget about. And I want to encourage you to not forget about the content outline, but to download it and read it, especially if you are almost about to take the exam? The reason is this document goes into more detail about what you can expect on the exam. And at first, it gives you the same old table I just showed you from the handbook. But when you go into the next section, it breaks down what to expect domain by domain. In the last boot camp I had, the mini boot camp, which is 6 hours long, I asked our students several questions based on the content outline. And what I noticed is they usually get questions that are from the PMP guide. But when I ask them questions that are a direct cutout of the content outline, they're lost. And that's why certain people find it hard on the exam, because they have not read this handbook or this content outline. So don't just read the handbook, but read this content outline, because some of the questions could be a direct cutout of this. Okay? So every domain has further detail, as you can see. And it's these tasks that you see on the left-hand side that the exam is based on. These are the things PMI expects you to be able to do as a practitioner of project management. And you've got the tasks across every single domain talked about. So I'm going to share this with you in the chat. There we go. Now you've got 2 links, things to study that will help you on the exam. Someone might go through this and find it a little bit hard and may have questions. For that reason, I'm going to share with you a treasure trove of information. Those who are wise will watch these videos, and those who are not may find themselves watching these videos a few months later, after an unsuccessful exam approach. And I really hope that's not the case, but I see a lot of folks, after not being able to pass the exam, they say, Phil, what should I do? And I say, look, you need to go to our page, PMP Exam Failure Stamp Out. The video's there, about 5 hours long. Endure it, watch it, take notes, open up the content outline. And this is really what it is. You can see there's so many videos. You won't find these videos on YouTube. These videos aren't on YouTube. So I want to encourage you, go to this page. If your exam is coming up, maybe you're like, Phil, it's already too late for me to come to a boot camp. I just need all the prayers and help I can get. Hey, this is help I'm giving you, okay? Go to this website. I type the link into the chat. And if you go to that website, you will be able to watch videos that will help you on your final run-up. You see, it's your buddy Phil just trying to help you. Okay, so that's pretty much what I would advise if your exam period is really close and you just need that extra bit of help, that extra bit of advice to pass the exam. Okay? So again, the website to visit is pmsucceed.com. Hit the sign up link right there and hit the sign up now button. And we look forward to seeing you in the classroom. Like I said, the $750 is for a limited amount of time. You need to take action right now before that price changes to $9.99. Now, I want to make available one more special offer for those students of ours who are currently on the 6th edition online course. So if you have paid $550, $350, $175, or $125 for the various bands of our regular course, and you want to sit for this, we will further discount this $750 price by whatever you paid for the current 6th edition online course. So, for example, if you paid $550, for a seat in the regular online course that is not live, that is just you watching the videos, we will discount this amount by whatever is remaining from that $750 for or the $550 for 6 months, I beg your pardon. For those of you who have paid $175, we will discount this because this is a smashing opportunity that we do not want our students to miss. So whatever you have paid for a seat in the online self-study course, if you want to make the jump to this, we will discount you that amount, as we already have for one student. So to make it fair, if you've spent money already in the online course, but you're like, online is cool, but I want to go to the next level with virtual self-study. I want to be able to see the instructor. I want to be able to talk to the instructor. I want to be able to ask questions. I want to be able to expand my horizon in this PMP guide thing. I don't just want to read it in isolation blind. I want to be able to ask questions now. If that's you and you've signed up for online, like I said, we will discount you that additional amount. So go ahead and get it. Let us know which course you got, how many months it was. You could send us an email to support@praizion.com, or just go there to the link and send an email to that address, okay? And just tell us, hey, I signed up for the 6-month 6th edition course. I would like to make the jump to this one, and we will discount you that additional amount. So for someone who has already spent $550, they would only need to pay $200. For those who have already spent $350, they would only need to spend $400 to get into this course. Okay, so we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people who have signed up in the past to join this course on the 15th of October. And with that, we've come to the end of our discussion about the PMP Exam Virtual Bootcamp. If you have any further questions, post them in the comments below. And for those of you who have your exam tomorrow or the next day or the next, I wish you all the very best. Check out the links I sent, and all the best on the exam. Everyone else, I look forward to seeing you in the classroom. Bye for now.